Her voice cracked through the party like a whip, cutting the air with venomous precision. My son stood frozen in place, 11 candles flickering behind him. His classmates' faces blurred together, some giggling, some confused, others awkwardly silent with pity. His small hands trembled at his sides. And she smiled, proud, like she had just achieved something great. Then came her father, wine glass half empty, weaving slightly as he stepped forward. A man who never missed an opportunity to crush something more fragile than himself. "The boy's got no spine," he muttered gruffly. A real disappointment. I stepped forward, fists clenched, my chest heavy with words I was ready to unleash. But then my son lifted his hand. "Dad, wait," he said softly, voice trembling but firm. "I have a speech for Mom." I froze.
So did she.
He turned to face her directly, his eyes dark and locked onto hers. "I just want to say thank you, Mom, for teaching me what poison looks like when it smiles." She blinked. Once, twice, and then her wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor as her knees gave out beneath her. Gasps echoed through the room. A few people screamed. Her father went ghostly pale. The world spun, but I didn't move. I just stood there. My son didn't flinch. It had started small. A raised eyebrow when he didn't clean his plate. A sharp correction when he stumbled over a word. Compliments coated in vinegar. "Boys don't cry. You're weak, just like your father. Grow a spine, or you'll be nothing." I used to excuse it. Called it stress. Chalked it up to her childhood. Blamed her father's influence. But that changed the day I walked past my son's bedroom and heard him whispering into the mirror. "I'm not nothing. I'm not nothing." That was the day I stopped making excuses. She wasn't teaching him strength, she was dismantling him, piece by piece.
Silently.
Systematically.
Publicly.
Whenever I tried to intervene, she twisted it. "You're too sensitive. Boys need discipline. Stop undermining me." There were no bruises, no visible marks. Only wounds carved so deep they didn't bleed, just stayed hidden and raw. I started keeping track.
Dates. Words.
Reactions. Her cruelty always intensified when people were watching, because she wanted witnesses to validate her abuse. I began seeing a therapist in secret. I explained everything. The emotional gaslighting, the public shaming, the manipulative control over our son. His answer hit me like a brick. "This is abuse." I set up a camera, not in his bedroom, but in the kitchen. Her stage. It only took 2 weeks. One recording showed her grabbing his wrist too tightly. Another captured her whispering, "You ruined me," after he spilled a juice box. And then came the jackpot. A file from her old phone. She'd left it in the laundry room, unlocked. Messages. "Sometimes I wish he'd just disappear. He's not really mine anyway. He's more like you than me." I read those lines again and again. She resented him, not for who he was, but because he reminded her of me. Her hatred wasn't about him, it was everything she couldn't control. The night before the party, he came into my room. Said his stomach hurt. Said he didn't want to give a speech. I almost told him to fake being sick. To stay home. To avoid it. Instead, I handed him a flash drive. "Slip this into the back of the speaker when it's your turn." He looked up at me. "What's on it?" "The truth." He nodded.
Didn't ask again.
When she collapsed, no one understood why. They thought it was nerves. Maybe excitement. But the audio had already played. Her voice, recorded, soft but sharp, echoing through the room. "You make me sick." And then, to someone else, "I wish I had left both of them." Her father heard every word. His face collapsed like wet plaster. The guests stared in stunned silence. And my son stood tall.
Still. Free.
She was revived in a chair near the cake table, a cold rag on her forehead, her eyes darting like a cornered animal. I knelt beside her, raised my phone, and pressed play again. Her voice, her venom, her legacy. Her eyes filled with something I had never seen in her before.
Fear.
"You think this ends at a birthday party?" I whispered.
No.
"This is where it begins." She reached out to grab my arm. Please, you don't understand. I understand everything now. You didn't break him. You taught him how to stand. I stood. So did my son. We walked out, leaving her behind, surrounded by smeared frosting, sagging balloons, and a crowd of faces that would never forget what they heard. The custody battle didn't last long. The recordings were admissible. The text messages were undeniable. The therapist's report was devastating. Her father tried to step in once. I handed him a flash drive. His own voice played back at him, degrading a child like it was family tradition. He walked away, silent. Now my son sleeps better, speaks louder, holds his head higher. He hasn't asked about her. Not even once. I never said goodbye. She doesn't deserve closure. Only silence. Because some speeches don't need to be shouted. And some justice comes wrapped in birthday cake.